Good morning, Per. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Mashek, and it looks like both you and I have been doing some traveling, so apologies for being late with this podcast. Hope our audience will forgive us.
I really hope so. The the last couple of weeks were really heavy on travel. Especially, I've been to the IT Nation, um, which is I think one of the largest, if not the largest, MSP events that is out there. There were like 5,000 people, around 5,000 people. I'm still waiting for the ConnectWise to publish the number of participants, but there were like around 5,000 people that joined the event. Very interesting event. Very interesting event. Um MSPs, are thriving. This community, this market is growing about 12% year over year, stable, nice growth, um, full of innovative ideas around mainly about artificial intelligence, but also great opportunities in cybersecurity. And you could see it on the sales floor. There were a lot of cybersecurity vendors of different flavors and types, and trying to help and protect or educate both the MSPs and SMBs. Um, a lot of good discussions. It's a very unique event because people are open about they effectively open the books, and they talk about this. So that was yet another opportunity for me to learn more and more about this really great MSP community, and I'm even more convinced that this is the model, the business model that all the resellers should move towards, okay, in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so fun meeting both partners and vendors to the ecosystem.
You know what was the interesting element, and we spoke about this so many times, how thin the margins in the resale business are. The CEO, the new CEO of ConnectWise, Mani Rivello, when he went on stage, one of his slides on the keynote were about the opportunities for the MSPs, how to improve their business. And he did show a typical profile of an MSP. And if you are very, kind of a very much in the resale business, you would appreciate that. Per He's saying, the typical profile of the MSP, 50% margin, that with improvements can go to 58% margin.
Yeah, exactly. I used to have 70% in my old business. So that's right. It is so much better than just reselling because if you're adding value, you are able to charge for that value, and customers are happy because you provide tangible business outcomes for them. So it makes sense.
Makes total sense. And then I started to think, during this event, and that's the topic for our conversation today is, well, it's not enough to it's not enough to just generate the value and build those offers for the customers, but it's going to be extremely important is to properly market that to the customers and to the potential customers, uh, your value proposition. So I guess marketing is going to be way more important in an MSP space than it is in the reseller space. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I think that most partners or most smaller and medium-sized partners are under investing in marketing. So they should probably find a way to channel resources from sales to marketing, and that will also give the salespeople that are left better leads, more quality in the leads that are being supplied, and therefore you don't need such a large sales force as you used to have.
That was my feeling always in the SMB space, because in the SMB space, marketing, because we are talking to millions of customers, seems to have a very, very important role, because, well, when you cater to the enterprise business, you know exactly who your customer is. You know specifically the top 500, the Fortune 500 companies. I mean, they are the names, right? And if you're trying to sell to them, if that's your target market, then obviously you don't need to figure out who are, the people who are the companies that you need to call. You need to figure out who are the people within the company who you need to call. But that's not the marketing job; it's a sales job. But when you are targeting small and medium business, you're talking about millions and millions of small and medium business entrepreneurs, and you need to get out with this kind of a broad message, broad interesting message, rather than do some cold calling, and that's gonna help, right?
And
So
the
I do
fuel
agree.
that
Go
sorry,
ahead.
the fuel that drives marketing is content. If you have great content and you have an engine so that you can produce even more great content, you will be relevant for your customers. So it is bringing something of value in the discussion to your customers.
Yeah, I agree. The content is going to be crucial, especially, what is the message? And I think the message in the resale business and the message in the MSP business seem to be much different, correct?
Yes.
What are the differences in your opinion?
So in my opinion, when you are a reseller, you are promoting someone else's products. It might be pieces of hardware, pieces of software, but generally it is something that has been produced by someone else. And you're telling your customers about these products, or you're telling them about the advantages buying these products from you and not from someone else. It might be a price point thing, it might be a support thing. But when you are an MSP, you are most likely to do marketing around your own homegrown services. Perhaps you resell a few services, but the bulk of the services that you sell are services that are being produced by yourself, by your organization. And that's a different thing. And it's also not like you are trying to do a transaction. Instead, you are doing multiple transactions, and when you start your transaction, you charge your customer every month, every quarter, every year, but it is recurring revenue. And that also makes marketing a bit different than if you're just pushing Chevrolet or Ford cars.
I do agree with you. In my experience with the large technology vendors, the key discussion with the channel partners was obviously MDF and how the MDF is going to be used, because then there were very strict rules about how the MDS can be used to promote certain products. And if I'm not mistaken, majority of the budget that was going to our channel partners, the majority of the marketing budget that our channel partners would have would be, the MDF dollars that would come from the vendor, which came with the strings attached and the way, a certain way of promoting the products. Okay, so there was a message, there was specific pictures, everything was packaged more and more to become a kind of something that you can basically take and post into your web pages. I even remember the programs that would push vendor marketing directly to the reseller pages, so the reseller didn't have to do much of additional activities.
And then you're not providing much additional value either.
Then your value comes from the fact that you are backed by the big vendor, right? So your value is the kind of a local face to the big name, which used to be a very lucrative business in the past. But as we said, this kind of resale contracts are no longer very, very profitable because the competition is really high. The commoditization of this resale process and the ease of buying is increasing. So obviously, anything that you can do to start offering your own services, it's gonna create additional opportunities for you. So I would totally agree with you, Per, that the marketing investment has to change, but also the message will have to change. It will have to be a different message. It's not going to be a message around the transaction. It's going to be a message. And remember, MSPs are on those kind of a long-term contracts, 36 months, 48 months, whatever. The message that you need to send to your customers is way more strategic and consultative, not transactional, if I'm not mistaken.
And more about what in what ways you're going to help the customer, what the benefits will be. So it is about business values and not about pieces of products. So that's super different, and marketing never ends because your transactions with the customer will hopefully never end. So you need to continuously do marketing in order to stay relevant with your customers. So another thing that I wanted to bring up is that I see that marketing and sales cannot be in separate silos anymore. It needs to be integrated because your marketing people and your sales people should work together. And organizationally, you probably will make sure that these two departments, if there are still two departments, should report to the same person. So integration of marketing and sales is super important.
So you're saying that we should no longer have two separate people responsible for the separate head of marketing and separate head of sales?
You can do that, absolutely. And it depends on how large your organization is. But if you're talking about small and medium-sized partners, then probably, well, if you're medium-sized, you probably have one head of marketing, one head of sales. But these people probably should report to the same person.
I agree, and this is where we are seeing more and more of those chief revenue officers popping up. People that are taking care of both the marketing activities and the sales activities and the product development. Somebody who is in charge of the kind of a go-to-market or outbound activities for the company. Correct?
Yep. Yes. Very much. Very much.
So marketing and sales are getting more and more integrated. You also advocated for the shift for the focus away from sales more into the marketing activities, to the kind of a lead generation, because the marketing is also getting more and more complex at the moment. I think there are more and more places where people can find information about our products and services, and you have to be present in more and more places. You have to be present with influencers. You have to influence yourself, the messaging on the market. What else needs to be done?
Well, it is great that you bring that up, because it is super important to make sure that you engage with people that are engaging with your audience. So like people running podcasts, influencers of all sorts, management consultants that are out there meeting your potential clients. So making sure that you have great relationships with these and that they know what you are doing and what differentiates you is super important.
Yes.
Another thing that makes it different is that, and I think you touched it, is that people do their own research nowadays on the internet, but they're also willing to, in many cases, complete the purchase over the internet. And then it is more like marketing's job to make sure that this happens and less of the sales department. So like the borders between marketing and sales are becoming more blurry. So integration is really the way to go.
And with the more and more people basically buying stuff, coming to you with exactly what they want, right? They come and tell you, exactly what they want. It becomes a pretty interesting story to make sure that you inform them what you can deliver, so they come to you with their needs rather than somebody else.
Yes, exactly. And the more crisp you are about what you can deliver and what you can stand for, the better. And that also builds the need for partnering, but that's another conversation. But specialization is key to success.
Yes. So marketing has to transform. If you are a reseller, what you need to do is you need to rethink your marketing strategy. Typically, that involves higher investment in the marketing budgets. That's probably different sources of investment, because you could, being a reseller, you can rely on vendors to kind of help you with the assets generation, but also with the paying for the distribution of those assets, investment in your webpage, investment in advertising, or kind of a face-to-face discussions with the customers. When you are running an MSP, you might not be so dependent on such a support from the vendors. But hey, we spoke about the margins that MSPs can generate. So there is a room for that. The transition is going to be difficult, I agree, but the opportunity is there, and the message has to change. It cannot be cannot be any longer promoting a specific vendor solution. You are advertising your own services,
Yes.
your value added, your value add. You're advertising, the peace of mind for the customer. You're advertising your strengths, and what you can do for your customer. So your message is gonna significantly change when you move from the reseller to the MSP.
Yeah, and that's important to understand, that you can no longer lean on others. You need to produce your marketing yourself, because you are doing marketing about your own products, the products that your organization produces. So that's super important. Another thing that makes it so much easier today is that, thanks to AI, it has never been so affordable as it is today to generate videos, to generate podcasts. And you, Maciek, I remember you created a fake podcast that was just amazing. And I think you probably invested like a few hours, and the results were pretty great. And of course, it was an experiment, but there are so many good AI tools that are gold for marketeers. It has
Oh no,
never been as affordable as
marketing
this today.
can be significantly automated at the moment. That's true. So for all those of you, who are thinking about this transformation from VAR to an MSP and investing more in the marketing, there has never been an easier moment in the history of the marketing, right? To generate more content, and not only generate that, but also deliver that in a more automated way. At the IT Nation, I've been at a very interesting presentation from Josh Constantine. He was talking about different AI tools that can be used by the MSPs to basically accelerate the marketing. And he mentioned, obviously how to use ChatGPT, Copilot, or Gemini to generate stories, to write, posts for the LinkedIn, for the social media, generally speaking, how to leverage Midjourney, and other tools that are out there to create pictures, to create nice pictures to support your message. There are many different solutions out there that the good marketeers could leverage to generate way more content than it was possible, high quality content than it was possible before. Obviously, you need to have something to promote. So when you have your value add, then promoting it with those AI tools is going to be much easier for you. But the plethora of ideas that you can do, the tools that you can use to promote yourself in today's world, and I really encourage everyone to start using that.
Because you can do more yourself than in the past. In the past, you had to rely on agencies very much, especially when it comes to graphics and doing videos of all kinds. But now you can produce so much yourself.
Absolutely, and the fake video that Per mentioned, the fake podcast that Per mentioned, it's a great tool. I mean, you can load a lot of information, you can shape the discussion, I was using what was the name? The name is Notebook LM from Google. You can basically load a lot of information into this tool, and then shape the discussion that is being created by the Notebook LM, by the two artificial intelligence voices about the topic that you want to inform people, your audience. And it's a very simple exercise. Yes, it requires a little bit of time, but this is the time that you would normally spend briefing the agency on what needs to be done. Then you would get this, whatever they produce in a couple of weeks. Then you wouldn't like it. Then you would have to rework it, etc., etc. Here, the production of the asset takes minutes, and you have a direct impact and influence over what is being produced, which is really, really, really cool.
So I call it the democratization of marketing. You can always afford doing great marketing thanks to AI. And that's huge.
That's a revolution. Okay, thanks, Per, for the discussion today. Next week is Microsoft Ignite. I'm not going to make it to Ignite this year. I know you are not going, but we'll be watching probably the online keynotes, trying to figure out interesting announcements that Microsoft might bring. Also, the season for the earnings is starting, so I'll be watching some of our friends announcing their results, and I'm really keen on comparing different technology companies, how they have benefited from the AI boom that we are sitting in PCs, in the infrastructure business, and obviously in the cloud business as well.
Yeah, and I think it's still too early to see the top vendors generating money out of their AI investments, but it will take time, and I'm pretty sure that it's like the tide. It is something that will lift everyone's boat that is involved in this. So our industry is in great shape, but now it is time to invest money in AI, and harvest time will come a few years later. That's
true.
my prediction of Microsoft earnings and Google's and AWS as well.
Thank you so much, Per, and speak to you soon.
Thank you, Maciek.
Bye.
Bye.